Hello everyone, Brandon Boyd here with Wake Up Now. I want to go over the 10 strategies to help fast start your business to take massive action with all new IBOs. So even if you've been in the business for a while, this is going to be worthwhile for you to watch because I think it's important for you to understand that first of all, it is vitally important as a marketer that you get all of your new people off to a fast start because this is going to help them to create some quick success. So that way they kind of have some documentation and confirmation that what they're doing is something that actually really works. And second, you got to keep in mind that you're paid to help others succeed because you're paid on sales volume. And I'll repeat that. You get paid on the accumulation of sales volume as your team grows. So if you ever expect to generate a substantial income by sales taking place in a growing organization, you must take steps to ensure that you create an environment for that growth to actually occur. Again, you got to keep in mind as well, signing someone up and hoping that they will do something is a recipe for failure. Here's why. Because your role, your responsibility as a sponsor and a leader is to provide support for all your new team members. Okay, because there's too many people that get in, they say, hey, look, I closed the deal, it's done. Really, this is actually where the real work starts to begin because you are responsible for your team members, which means that once you sign them up, that's the beginning. That's when you really start working with them, helping them grow and drive depth into their organization. No one else is responsible for them. You are responsible for the people that you sponsor. Another thing is you want to get them making money within a 30 to 90 day period. This is absolutely critical. Here's a reason why. Because we found some stats, and this is, I'm not sure exactly who produced these stats, but essentially it says that if you can get someone making somewhere between 300 to 500 bucks a month in their first few months, I like to say within 30 to 90 days, you're going to keep them. Okay, and I don't think that that applies to everyone, but I think that getting people in the black, which means profitable, is a rather important first step, don't you think? I mean, think about it. If you can get a person to make it so that their monthly fee is taken care of, the likelihood of retaining that person is greatly increased. I mean, they want to see progress. You want them to see progress. You want to see them get it. You want to make it kind of snap for them so they see the bigger picture and they're locked in to the business. You also want to help them save and make between 300 and 500 bucks a month. So between the two, especially in Wake Up Now, you can do that because between saving and making all the way up to founder three, they can make that kind of money and they can do that even within the first month of just saving money alone. And you start them in that process within their first 24 to 48 hours. You got to get those people trained within the first 24, 48 hours of enrolling. This is absolutely critical. I found from doing the business and being around the industry for, I'd say it's been almost 14 years now, is getting the people trained right off the bat is absolutely critical because what happens is that, as I was saying just a little bit ago, is that a person will get in and then it's kind of like, okay, I closed the deal. And so now I don't really have to, they're just going to kind of take off. This is where the people are kind of at the height of their excitement. And so getting them trained on like one or two of their products to get them going and how to do different things with a business is going to be absolutely critical. You want to also make sure that you're not a flaky sponsor. Okay, so you got to show up and do what you say that you're going to do because these people are going to watch you. Okay, you lead, they follow, and then they will lead. Okay, all your reps, brand new people, they're going to see the things that you do. So if you want them to do something, you yourself better be doing it as well because you got to lead by example. Again, they're always going to be watching you. Another thing is you want to make sure that you attend every event. That means regional events, that means national. Be on as many webinars and conference calls as possible. Again, you want to make sure and lead because if they don't see you there and you're just on the sidelines, guess what? They're not going to go to the meetings either. If they say, hey, You go to that regional conference, I'm not going to be able to make it there. I got a fishing trip, or I've got some other things going on. Well, why aren't you going to be there? If you as a leader aren't there, your people aren't going either. Okay? Another thing is don't be hide behind your computer. How many people do we have out there say, "Oh yeah, I'm an internet marketer and I'm going to create, squeeze pages and landing pages and do email campaigns and Facebook." I mean, it's just going to be incredible. Let me tell you something. In 14 years, I've never personally known anybody who built their business behind a computer with squeeze pages that actually retained a high percentage of the people that they brought in. This is a people business. This is a human business. Okay, so what I tell people is combine the both. And in another webinar, I'm going to go over the details of actually how to do it. But keep in mind, again, this is a people business. It's not a computer business. Sure, you can use your computer and Twitter and Facebook yourself into oblivion. But if you can't connect on a one-to-one level with those human beings that are on your team, you're missing the point. And as I was mentioning, I know, and I can look at Wake Up Now, most of the biggest earners in this company and in this profession, I can tell you this, they attend all the events and they all work with their people. Take Darren O'Lyon, for example. Okay. Take Ree Nichols. Take a Mike Ray. Take a Brooke Shireman. Take a Seymour Green or Gerald Wilhite. These people are kneecap to kneecap working with their people. Okay. They don't hide. They help. They reach out. Also, you got to work with those who deserve your time. This is something that Mike Ray talks about a lot in the time I've worked with him. People that deserve your time, not people that need your time. So what happens when you sponsor someone who says they want to be successful, but maybe their actions show otherwise? You can take kind of, for example, let's say that you just sponsored Bob. Bob says he wants to make 10,000 a month. He's ready. He's serious to move. He's tired of his situation. Because I'm responsible as a sponsor, I'm doing all the things outlined for kind of fast starting the rep. Yet, for whatever reason, I call him ballistic Bob. Bob blows up. He flakes out. What do I do now? Do I chase him? Do I beg? Do I hope and pray? Do I follow up with him to death? On the other hand, I might sponsor someone named Tammy. She's motivated. She's showing up. She's inviting. She's doing all the things that I expect her to do. She is showing up for her actions, and which is showing her true desire, unlike Bob. So this is when you got to make the decision, and this is a tough decision, but one that I think will be made very often as you pursue new growth in your business. And Mike Ray talked about this the other day. Who are you going to spend your time with? You got to spend your time with the Eagles, not the Pigeons. The people who are leading, the people who are at the webinars, the people who are at the conferences, the people that are bringing people to the table. So you're going to work with those through their actions who deserve your time. Let the flakes fall. I mean, if you've done everything you can to help them, but they still do nothing, you got to move on. Okay? Again, this is the quickest, easiest way to determine deserve versus need is through the actions that your people are going to take. And you could say not even just the things that they're saying, because you got to be careful. A lot of people will use words all day long. Oh yeah, I got 10,000 people. I'm bringing them over. They talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. And they're telling you how they're going to be your next mega producer, only to end up they don't even sponsor one person. You got to watch out for those time wasters. Okay. So focus again on those who deserve you because of the actions they take beyond simply just signing up. Just because someone has an ID number and it's in your system, it doesn't mean that they deserve your attentions. I mean, for me, I kind of meet my reps halfway. I help them build, but I'm not ever going to build it for them, ever. I tell people I don't want people in here who just want a spot. Yeah, just give me a spot. And then you call them 3 weeks later and they say, well, hey, how come no one's in my downline yet? I don't go and build people's downlines for them. Okay, TikTok goes the clock. You just sponsor a new rep. Now what? So in the next series that I'm going to go over the specific strategies number 1 through 10, with strategy number 1 being sponsoring is the beginning of the sale. So make sure and tune into that. But I wanted to give you a quick intro on what to expect here and how to take a brand new IBO in your business and give them a fast start to massive action. What I want to start with is strategy number 1, which I believe really sponsoring is just the beginning of the sale. The act of actually closing someone or enrolling them, it's not the end. You're not finished. People often get to this point, they say, phew, I got one. And then they drop the ball and they neglect the most important part of the sponsoring process, and that's being an actual sponsor. Okay? I understand the feeling that signing up someone new has in your business. I've signed up a ton of people in this industry. You feel as if you've closed a person, so it may feel like it's kind of the end of a process, but this is not like phone sales or door-to-door sales. It's not just a one-time thing. It's just the beginning. You got to treat the sign up as the start and not the end, and your work now begins, because if you don't determine in yourself to become a leader and a sponsor, it will absolutely affect the size of your check. So you got to make sure that you don't actually neglect being the sponsor, or you're not going to have a team and organization in Wake Up Now or in any business that you do. Over strategy number 2, where I think it's absolutely critical not to actually assume anything. And that means with a brand new person that comes into the business, I mean, you have no doubt heard that when you assume something, you only end up making, basically, some people say, a butt out of you and me. Okay, I'm not going to use the other choice words, but the truth is the only butt is you. And I mean that in the most loving way. If you assume something, you're simply being lazy. You're not taking or avoiding a simple part of the process, which is really discovery. For example, let's say that you sign up a new rep today, has 3 years of prior network marketing experience. Many people will make the broad assumption that if the individual has 3 years of field experience in network marketing, they actually know what they're doing. We would hope that they would, but from my experience, if they're not building a business, they're not going to build it on hope alone. Okay? So what you know makes you better. So what you got to do is you got to take the time to dig. You may find out, as I have on so many occasions, that a new rep with several years of network marketing experience quite literally knows nothing about the business. I've worked with people that haven't even yet talked to people, sold a product that never signed anyone up, or even know how to conduct a simple three-way call. So you got to make sure and take baby steps. Don't assume that they know anything about this industry or the business. And if they do, have them prove it to you. I mean, I've worked with a brand new rep that tell me, oh, I know how to do a three-way call, or I know how to do that, or do an invite or something like that. So I ask them on the spot to do one, and they can't. That, which is really kind of a clear sign. You got to start from the beginning as if they're totally new and inexperienced. If they really do know something, you'll see it in the first few days as they unfold it to you. So what you got to do is you got to show them how to do this. You got to give them the best shot at success by not assuming that they know how to do anything. If they know something, you'll know that they know it, and then you'll be able to move on to the next point. I'm going to go over strategy number 3 on the fast start to massive action for all your new reps, and that is really to take someone and make them part of the family. Okay, make them family. I want my new people to feel so comfortable in their new business that they feel at home. So in other words, to feel so comfortable that if I had them over to my home, they could simply make their way over to my refrigerator without asking them and telling them to actually have to make a sandwich. They're going to make it on their own. That's how comfortable they should be. We all have friends that are like that. They're probably our closest friends, those that we feel the most comfortable around. So when you enroll someone, they are essentially outsiders. They're new. So you got to get them introduced to the team. It is your job, and I'm going to repeat this, it's your job as a sponsor to make them feel comfortable and to welcome them. Okay? So you want to get them plugged into the other people that you work with. Don't keep your new rep a secret from your upline leadership team. That's just downright stupid. Okay? Everyone upline from that person has a financial interest in that person succeeding. So if I have a new person coming into my second, say I've got a generational pay or however you want it. Okay, so I've got someone that's down on second level, fifth level, or anywhere else for that matter who is ready to build. I want to know who they are. Okay, so immediately on day one, begin plugging them into other leaders on your team and do a round of introductions. Make them feel at home. This is a little technique that does a super job of cementing them into your organization. It's really kind of the glue that keeps them from going to another company. So if you're in a business right now where maybe your sponsor didn't do a good job of getting you introduced to the upline leadership team, and the only person you know in the company is that person, then take it up on yourself to start meeting other people in your line of sponsorship. So many people have excuses like, well, I don't know who my upline leader, or my upline, he's not responding to my phone calls and those kind of things. You know what? Call into member services. Tell him who's his upline. Okay? You never use your upline as an excuse to not succeed. But you, as the sponsor, need to make sure that you don't do the same thing and help your people feel comfortable. I want to go over strategy number 4, which I believe is absolutely critical, and that is to help your brand new rep establish a basic game plan, because new people, they don't know what to do because they've never done it before. You can't really expect a new person to even know what the game plan may consist of, because again, they've never done it before. So this too is your job. You got to sit down with them and have a discussion about what they want and how fast they want to get it. So you're going to be working with this new individual, and it's important that you have some idea as to what it is that they want and what kind of energy they will be able to put forth into the business. So here's a few questions that you can ask them just to begin kind of creating a basic game plan. What days will you work the business? How many hours? Do you want to go fast or slow? Okay. You want to make sure that you find out exactly what they want to accomplish in the business and by when. And then you help them create a plan to get wherever it is that they're looking to go. So if you fail to plan, you plan on failing. Cliche and direct, huh? You know, we hear that all the time. If you fail to plan, you plan on failing. But yet so many people say, yeah, I know that quote, but people don't do it. Okay, you got to help these people. Again, we're getting them in the business not just to help them make money, but to help them become better people. And I'm being serious here. You can't get something by shooting from the hip and hoping. I mean, you got to find out what's the plan. Get with them and establish a basic getting started game plan to get them moving quickly to generate a check. Because people who fail to create plans for themselves, they always end up fitting into someone else's plan. Ever heard of that? Absolutely. They'll join another business. That other person's plan for them isn't nearly as good as the plan that they'd make for themselves if they just took the time to make one in the first place. I want to go over strategy number 5, which is to take your brand new IBO, your brand new rep in the business, and plug them into training as soon as possible. Again, people are very unlikely to do anything if they don't have a clue about how to do it. Not only will they be paralyzed in fear, but they simply won't budge. So you got to start training them immediately today, because the quicker that you can get someone plugged in to the how-to training, the better their odds of succeeding will be. So you need to do this today. Get your new rep plugged in right now, right this minute. As soon as they are in, they begin getting trained. Okay, that's what I do with a brand new rep as soon as they come in, is get them trained today. Just like if they were on a job, you're going to start that training process immediately. They need to know how to talk to people, how to present, which in Wake Up Now, the nice thing is they don't necessarily have to learn how to present. They can learn how to become a professional inviter, what tools to use, what resources are available to them. They need to begin working on their beliefs, and their brain may need to go through some very serious change in order for them to survive in this profession, from my experience. So today is a good day for training, because you're going to give them kind of the armor they need to get going with their business. You got to do that not next week, but right now. So how soon do you want to start making money? That's one of the questions you want to ask. How soon do you want to start making money? Most people's answer is right now. So there you go. Train them now. Get them plugged in. Make them report back to you. They did it if it involves them doing anything on their own. So for example, if I assign a new rep a few tasks, they're ready to report back to me what they've done and what I've asked them to do. Otherwise, I'm just not even going to work with them. Okay? And that's going to save you a ton of time. Remember, actions will always speak louder than words. If they do what I ask of them, that's a good sign. If they don't, that's a great sign. Why? Now I know that I won't be wasting the next 30 to 90 days partnering up and teaming with someone who doesn't understand the concept of basic responsibility. Are you plugged into training? That's a question to ask for yourself. Or are you just too good for it? Have you been on too many webinars? You've already seen it. You already know those things. You've been on 100 calls. Good for you. I don't care how big your check is. You got to lead by example. You got to show up for calls. You got to be on the live events. in any training that you can. You got to be visible. You got to make it known that you're there and that you are in the business. You got to be seen. It's just like any other sport. If you're not there at practice, if you're not there in the off season, weightlifting and sprinting and those kind of things, guess what? Come season time, you're not going to be playing. Our business is not any different. So you got to make sure that you're not too arrogant and think that you're so good right now that you don't have to learn anymore. The moment that you start to take that attitude is really kind of the beginning of your demise with your check. I've been doing this long enough. I've seen it firsthand, and it's just not pretty. Okay, so you got to make sure and train your reps. Give a helping hand and teach them to do what we do. Help them, show them, and work with them. Remember, you got to be a sponsor. You're not a salesperson who's just closing the deal on someone. You're actually a sponsor, which means you actually have to do something with that person. You know, manager, that's a person who tells someone go. A leader is someone who says, let's go. So if they know how to do it, they're probably going to do it on their own. Most likely, they won't. Okay? You want people who do. People who are trained generally do a lot more than others who aren't trained. It's pretty simple. If they know how to do it, they're going to do it. If they don't, they won't. So which would you rather have on your team? So this is critical. I've done this since the beginning, since getting in this industry. Training is so vitally important. I don't know of hardly anybody in most jobs that takes a new job with no training and has success without getting let go. Okay? Everyone needs to get trained no matter how good they are. I'm going to go over strategy number 6. This is critical. Get their top 10 list. I want to start off by saying warm market works. It always has and it always will. Okay? And I hate to say it like this, but I think that you are a fool if you avoid your warm market. You're a double fool if you don't get your new people tapping into their center of influence. Okay? Now, I've had someone come to me and they say, look, I don't want to talk to my warm market. Tough. Do it anyway. I've had so many people say that, but I've been burned. I've burned all my family and friends with other programs. Bummer. Now it's time to finally get serious and show them and bring them a good one. A company that you're actually committed to once and for all. So, you know you're looking into building a business, correct? So the question is, do you want to do it fast or slow? I know that you want to do it fast. And the fastest way to get started is to get your new people and take that opportunity and your products to people that you already know because the relationship already exists. It's quick. There's no rapport building necessary. The relationship is already there. Okay? And I'm not going to say that you got to write down a list of everyone that you've ever known since kindergarten and then dialing your way through the hundreds of people that you haven't spoken to in years. Okay? I think that, you know, in my opinion, if someone called me after 10 to 20 years, I'd be like, look, we haven't talked in like 2 decades. Not interested. Okay? If you want to do that, knock yourself out, but I don't personally recommend that. I am, however, a big fan of the strategy to get their top 10. My question to my new rep is generally going to be something like this. You know, Tony, who are the sharpest people you know that if they grabbed a hold of this would knock it out of the park? Or you could say something like, Tony, who are the most successful, outgoing, motivated people you personally know? Okay? So my objective here is to get them thinking up the socioeconomic chain in their center of influence. So generally speaking, it's pretty easy to get someone to write down a list of 10 to 25 people to begin contact about their business, and it is way less scary and intimidating than writing down everyone they've ever known since kindergarten. So it's time to wake up. If you're not talking to your warm market about your business, for me, at least me as a leader, I'd personally question your integrity, your commitment level, and your beliefs around the business. Okay? Because those people that you truly say you care about the most, they'll be mad when they find out that you didn't tell them about Wake Up Now, right? You're going to be mad. And then you're going to be doubly mad when they signed up in someone else's business, right? So if it is good enough for you, how is it not good enough for one of your buddies? You mean you're willing to take it like to a complete stranger, but you won't take it to someone that you love and care about? I mean, seriously, if you were going to join my business and you weren't willing to get to your top 10, For me, I won't even work with you. I will not work with someone who simply wants to go straight into the cold market and isn't willing to get to their center of influence. As I talked about on a different video, for these people to think they're just going to set up squeeze pages, landing pages, and do everything online and build this massive downline, you know what? I've seen that before, and it's almost a revolving door. They bring people in, and the people fall out. Now, I'm all for having those things for some extras, but if you're going to build your entire business that way and think that you're going to try and retain all those people or a high percentage of them, I'm going to tell you, you can think again. This is a human business. It's a kneecap to kneecap business, and you can utilize the internet and the tools that we have, but I'm telling you, you want to use the combination. First, starting with those warm contacts. That way that you can get your business going and off the ground with people that are closest to you, regardless of your past. Go over strategy number 7, which is to uncover their action motivator for the new reps. This is critical because you got to find out what is it that drives this person. Okay, kind of what makes them tick. What is it that drives them on a daily or weekly basis? You got to find the core reasons for them doing the business, because things like getting out of debt or supplementing my income, it doesn't cut it. Answers like because I want to be rich or because I want a nicer car, they don't cut it either. Everyone's going to face challenging times during their experience in this company or any other company for that matter. Okay, in those challenging times, it's going to cause a lot of people to quit. But those that are clear with their why and why they are doing the business are going to be more likely to make it through those challenging times than those who haven't taken the time to gain some clarity and depth as to why they are doing the business to begin with. Because one of the reasons why I think it's really important for people to get clear with their why, their core reasons for doing the business, is because really kind of beyond the money, what is it that they're looking for? What is it that the money will actually buy them? So someone might say something like, I want to make 10 grand a month. That's not a why. What will you do with the money once you get it? Okay, that's the key. So the more important question can be, what will you actually do with the money once you get it? So your action motivator, that's what moves you. It's what gets you up in the morning. It drives you, it makes you work. It's the one thing that fires you up. You got to get clear with it. Okay. For me personally, that might be getting negative people in my past life, meaning in the past, that said, you can't do it. No, that's a scam. That's one of those pyramid things. It's going to go down, you know. That's the kind of thing that might drive me. Maybe it wouldn't drive you, to prove them wrong. Now, someone might say that's negative. Well, that's one of my reasons. Okay? And I'm not saying that is my reason, but that could be a reason. All right? Find out what drives you and what drives your new person. What is the one thing that makes you go? And then you uncover that, and you will be armed with something very powerful. So make sure that everyone that comes in gets their why immediately. You got to find that out, and that's going to help propel them through the tough times in the business. Next, strategy number 8. This is where you're going to help all brand new IBOs and reps in the company understand the process. It's going to be much easier for them to become action oriented if they feel like that they actually have a handle on things. So you're going to take some time to make sure that they are clear with the process. So what happens when you prospect? What is it that we do when we prospect? What happens first? What happens second? What's the natural order of things? This is where things like the Quick Start guide or the training website can help them feel very comfortable with how things actually happen. You can, even practice a role play. You got to make it real. Okay. For example, I kind of remember a Saturday training that I attended a long time ago, where we really practiced scripts and role playing for, Jesus, probably at least 2 hours. In fact, the first Wake Up Now training I went to is like 4 hours long, and that's what we were doing. It really kind of makes the real presentation go much better when you've done a few practice presentations ahead of time. But the nice thing about Wake Up Now is really you can just be a professional inviter, okay? And so that's what's different about this business than a lot of others, is that ours is so simple. Really, all you need to do is help them become a professional inviter to get them to the person that that they need to talk to, but that also needs to talk to you to have the presentation or maybe a webinar or video. So you can't expect your new rep to just run out and give a bunch of presentations if you fail to help them get comfortable in the process. So really what you want to do is help them actually become a professional inviter to get them to the mentor who is actually succeeding in the business to help them have success. But see, they're not going to know that unless you tell them that. They're just going to go out and say, hey, there's this Wake Up Now thing, and they have tax bot, and they have finance, they have cell phone discount, they have newsstand, they have vacations. Man, they're so crazy. It's amazing. And they're going to say, okay, is this one of those pyramid things? Is it those schemes? Is it an MLM? Is it network marketing? I knew it. Okay. You don't want to get them into that situation. Two people do that to them in a row, they're done. They're going to quit the business. Okay. Go over strategy number 9. This is critical as well, to check in with your brand new IBOs, your new reps on a regular basis. These people are your teammates, they're your business partners. So it's a very good idea to keep an eye on where they are, what they're doing. You don't have to become like a creepy stalker, but you want to keep an eye on them, because as time progresses, they become, or at least they should become, more independent. Okay, so no matter how independent and how big their group gets, you got to check in. Keep an eye on the business, keep an eye on the volume, make sure that you're watching your business. Okay, don't ever take it for granted. I'm going to tell you this again. Don't ever take it for granted that someone is in your business for life, even if they're your best buddy, because you just simply never know. To me, I think that it's smart just to keep an eye on your group and keep tabs on what is happening within your business. Okay, within your business. After all, it is your business. So doesn't it, to me, doesn't it make sense to watch what is happening within your own company? Exactly. I mean, it's just the same as running any other business. Is if you've got employees, you kind of got to check in with them. Make sure that they're showing up on time, not leaving early, and those kind of things. Well, with the business partners, same type of thing, except that you're not a manager, you're a leader. But as a leader, you still need to be able to check in with them, make sure that they're doing okay and that they have what they have in order to succeed, and that they get your skill set as a leader to have the success that you have in your business. If you don't keep an eye on them, if you don't treat them as a business partner and as a teammate, I can tell you they will eventually go away. I want to go over the final strategy, strategy number 10. And again, I believe this one is critical as well. And if not, almost the most critical. And that's really trying to find the balance between prospecting and training. And Mike Ray had talked about this before, as well as some people kind of start to get in the training management mode. And I want to go over some of the keys that I believe in the strategy are so vitally important. One of the greatest challenges that anyone can ever face in this business is balancing between prospecting, recruiting, and training your team. When you have no team, it's pretty easy to focus all of your time on prospecting, isn't it? And then you recruit a few people and your responsibilities begin to shift. So what you got to do is you got to make sure that you are clear, that you're crystal clear with what I'm about to share with you. And I want you to review this video a couple of times. You got to remember it. You got to tattoo it in your head, tattoo it in your mind. Don't ever forget this. Always be recruiting. Don't ever stop recruiting and selling. Okay. Now, I don't believe you necessarily have to sell Wake Up Now. Okay. But don't ever stop recruiting and promoting your business. Always be looking for new people, no matter how big your business is. Guess what? I had a downline one point on one side of my business that had almost 5,000 active people. That entire side of my business went away. Okay? And that's happened before. Don't ever think all is well. So it is important that you're always looking for new people, no matter how big your business is. Your people are watching you, so you can't slip into a management mode. It's deadly to your check and your organizational growth. And I realize that as you recruit more and more people, your time will be split between recruiting and training. But whatever you do, don't slip into only training and supporting. It's one of the most deadly mistakes that you can make as a network marketing distributor. And so one of the biggest questions that I have in this business is related to once people are actually in, is really kind of how much time should I spend doing recruiting and how much time should I spend doing training? Okay. And my answer is this: you must always be recruiting, promoting, exposing, no matter how big your gets, because to me, there's really a reason for it. And the reason's simple. People are going to do what you do. So if you go into management mode, your people are going to go into management mode. Now, you just went from a productive team of producers to a non-productive team of managers. So your volume drops, your check disappears. I can tell you from my own experience, it's not very fun. So knowing that you must always be prospecting and leading by example. Okay, work with your people, work with those that, as I talked about before, who deserve your time, but don't let all of your time be eaten up. You got to reserve time for you and your own personal recruiting. Always reserve time for it. It's not like you have to say, okay, at 5 o'clock, here's what I'm going to be recruiting. It's kind of you're recruiting all throughout the day. It becomes a part of your life. You may want to move from spending 90 to 100% of your time recruiting to maybe 30% once you have an extremely large and mature organization, but you will never move to a position of not recruiting at all. Okay, that is unless you just want your check to disappear. Again, from my experience, always be in that position of both recruiting and training, but not ever letting go of recruiting. Because people, again, they watch you. People are going to do what you do. You got to demonstrate productivity and you got to stay there. And so what I want you to do is I want you to go back through these videos that I've put together in this section on the 10 strategies to fast start new reps to massive action. This is based upon over 14 years of my experience in the field. In my opinion, if you ignore it, you design your own demise. If you do it, you have a chance of experiencing some of the same success I've had. I've done this now 3 times. I've had success all 3 times in doing this. I believe that you reap what you sow. If you plant seeds, you water, you fertilize, you pull the weeds, you oversee your garden, it is guaranteed to bear fruit. Mike Ray has said that before, and he's one of the master distributors. If you will go out and do this, he who talks to the most wins. Okay, it is guaranteed to work, especially as you become a professional inviter. So you got to take the time to go through these videos and you got to water your organization. You got to pull the weeds. You got to oversee it. You are the watchman on the tower. You've got to nurture it, and your business will bear fruit. I promise you that. Look forward to working with you guys. Thanks so much for watching these again. Review them over and over and share them with your team. We'll see you guys at the top.